I'm Sam. Welcome to Brickwall Unplugged. Today I'm doing an Oz Perkins tier list in honor of his new film, Keeper, coming out. Keeper is not out yet at the time of recording. It's coming out soon. I'm excited for it. He also announced another movie, which is a bit further on, but I'm glad to see that he's become more prolific in recent years. The breakthrough success of Longlegs has him pumping out movies fast and furiously. Hopefully he doesn't do a Fast and Furious movie, though. That would not be the best use of his abilities. I wouldn't actually put it past him since James Wan had the monkey connection and Wan did a Fast and Furious movie, so. But anyway, let's hope that doesn't happen. I'm going to talk about all of his directed films. He's done plenty of acting, and I have seen a few of the movies he's acted in, like he's in Nope, and he's in Psycho 3, I think, with his father. Or maybe I think it was Psycho 3. It could have been 2 or 4 as well. But anyway, I'm not going to be talking about his acting roles. I'm going to be sticking to his directed feature films. He also directed an episode of the Twilight Zone reboot, but I'm not going to be talking about that either, just his feature films. This means we have 5 movies to talk about. They're here in a randomized order, and as always, I'm going to be ranking them on a tier list. And we're getting started with The Blackcoat's Daughter. This was his debut feature film. And it doesn't feel like a debut feature film, probably because he had already been in the industry for a while, so he wasn't some like scrappy indie up-and-comer. There's like name talent in here, and it looks expensive. It looks more expensive than it is. But it is very small and much lower stakes than a lot of his movies. The plot is very simple. You can actually say it's a bit slight. Something that was true of Oz Perkins' first 2 movies, and then a little bit of his third, and then less so in the latter 2, is that they were very, very light on plot in a way that was... You could call it style over substance, but in a way where his style was so good that it overcame the shortcomings in the narrative. And I wouldn't say that the narrative of The Blackcoat's Daughter or I'm the Pretty Thing That Lives in This House are bad by any stretch. I would just say they're a bit slim for a feature film. Like you could tell the same story more or less in a short film format, but it doesn't feel stretched out necessarily. It just feels slow and like it really lets the atmosphere breathe. That's the biggest thing about his earlier movies, especially, but continuing all the way through to Longlegs, just not as much in The Monkey. Atmosphere is such a big thing for Oz Perkins' movies. It's really like what he's best at, I think. Is such good atmosphere in The Blackcoat's Daughter. And you can say that about all of these except for The Monkey. I wouldn't say that one has particularly good atmosphere, but the other 4 all do. So great atmosphere, great sense of like creeping dread, even when nothing's happening. You just feel a little bit on edge. Everything's a little bit ominous, like that, the boiler for one, but also just like shots that could be like throwaway kind of connector shots. They have this weight to them, but it's not narrative weight. It's like this like dread-filled like worry in the pit of your stomach kind of weight to them. And it's really good. It also gets good performances out of these characters. Not that they're like super complicated characters, but Kiernan Shipka is good. And Emma Roberts is pretty good in this, actually. And I don't think I've seen her in much else. She's mostly only in other movies that I have no interest in ever watching. So I don't think I've really seen her in anything else. But she's pretty good in this. I think it's a solid horror movie, and it's a really good debut. And I'd give it a B. Okay, next up, I'm the Pretty Thing That Lives in This House. This was his second film, and it was a made-for-Netflix movie. Now, this one seems to have a very negative reputation, and I don't understand that. I think it probably comes from the same things I was just talking about the narrative being slim and maybe feeling a little stretched out to be feature-length. And I do think it's fair to say that about this film, but for me, it just is not an issue whatsoever. The atmosphere in this thing is so all-encompassing, and there's such along with that sense of dread and the creepy atmosphere, there's also a very melancholic atmosphere to this one. There's just this like sense of like a timeless sorrow hanging over the film, along with some really effective scares. There's not many of them, and the film really takes its time building up to these couple of scares, but they work really well. Great use of like depth of field and negative space. It's a gorgeous film that does a lot with very little. It does feel low budget in the sense that it's kept very simple, and it all takes place in like one location. It's just this house. So it's a kind of like very contained, very small cast too. There's only a couple of actors. And it's a great execution of a really bare bones framework that elevates it all. For me, it completely works. That atmosphere just grabs you and holds on. I've seen it twice, and it worked very well for me both times. Um, I think it's another B. It's like pretty much on the same level for me as Blackcoat's Daughter. I think I might prefer it slightly, actually, which I think is not the popular opinion. Blackcoat's Daughter tends to be the one that people like more. They're pretty close for me. Pretty Thing gets a slight edge, but not enough to give it an entire tier higher. Next up, The Monkey, which is his latest film at the time of recording, but The Keeper, or just Keeper, I guess, is coming out very soon. And I'm looking forward to Keeper, despite the fact that I did not like The Monkey. It didn't work for me. This seemed to be pretty polarizing with people, a lot of people not liking it, but a lot of people loving it too. It really comes down to if you like its sense of humor. And unfortunately, I didn't really. Now, there are some things that work. Like, the humor in this movie is kind of divided into, like, over-the-top gore, visual humor, and then more, like, character dialogue-based humor. And for me, the gore stuff worked decently. It didn't, like, nail it 100% of the time, but it worked okay. And then all the dialogue-based humor and character stuff, that didn't work for me at all. I found that very unfunny in kind of a annoying, grating kind of way. I didn't buy the lead at all. Theo James is playing a dual role, playing both brothers. I didn't like him as either brother. I didn't believe him in that role. There's this thing where, like, hunky actor guys put on glasses, and you're like, that guy's clearly never worn glasses in his life. You know what I mean? Like, a good actor can pull it off and make it feel natural, but with him, it was like, I don't believe him wearing glasses. Something as simple as that, he couldn't carry it off. It looked like he had a prop on his face the whole movie. And I didn't like his delivery of any of the lines, honestly. Like, he worked in narration, and then when he's talking to other characters in the movie, he still sounds like he's narrating, meaning he sounds like detached, like he's off in a room somewhere trying to sound cool rather than actually engaging with the other actor that he's face to face with, if you know what I mean. So he didn't work for me. Elijah Wood did. He's only in one scene, but he was good when he popped up. And then Adam Scott was fine. He's in the opening scene. He's fine. You know, I like him in general. He's okay. But like most of the other performances, I was not on board for pretty much anyone else. Actually, Oz Perkins himself was fine in his little cameo role. He has one scene. And he's fine in that role. He's kind of funny. He gets the point across. Whatever. The rest of the cast did not bring it for me. Nor did the narrative. I've never read the Stephen King short story, and maybe it works better in short story form. Actually, I think in the movie you can tell like when the narration is just literally reading Stephen King's prose, because it's like, oh, it feels like a different writer all of a sudden. It feels like a book now that's like better written than the other dialogue that we're listening to the rest of the movie. And definitely not scary, but this one's not really aiming to be. And it doesn't have that trademark Oz Perkins atmosphere. It's him trying something different, which I appreciate. But I don't think it worked. I don't think it's playing to his strengths. For me, The Monkey is, I think it's an E, honestly. Maybe that's a little harsh, but I think it's an E. Because for me, on my scale, if you're new to the channel here, D is a movie that is kind of like right in the middle for me. Like a C is like an okay movie, like, worth watching. D is like okay with caveats, kind of. Monkey is, I gotta go down to E because I don't recommend this one at all. Not a fun viewing experience. Next up is Gretel and Hansel. This was his take on the classic Hansel and Gretel fairy tale, the like Grimm fairy tale. And I like it. I don't like it as much as his first two. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in C right away. So I do still like it, but it feels both ambitious and not like willing or able to fully deliver on that ambition. Like it's doing a lot more than his first two movies did. The budget is clearly much higher. And it's going for a lot more on a plot level and a lot more on a world building level. And kind of the issue is that it sets up a lot of stuff that doesn't really pay off, or it includes a lot of things that feel like they're going to matter, or that will circle back around to them, or that they'll pay off or hold some significance, and they kind of don't. Like there's whole characters that show up, and you go, oh, that's a cool character. I'm excited to see what they do later, but then they're just not in the movie anymore. And it's kind of like, well, why were they in there at all? Now, that being said, I like the leads. Sophia Lillis is really good. I think she's a really good, like, up and coming talent. She was really good on that. What was it called? I Am Not Okay with This. I think that TV show. She was good on that. She was good in that Dungeons and Dragons movie, even though I don't like love that movie overall. She's good in it. I think she's really good, really a talented actor right there. So she's good, and again, Oz Perkins nails the atmosphere. The atmosphere is so good, and so is the production design. There's really striking like set design and like costuming and stuff. Very good on a production level. It feels like slick and glossy in a way that sometimes is a negative for a horror movie, but it worked here because of Oz's like grasp of the tone and the atmosphere. So a lot of it really works. It just doesn't quite fire on all cylinders for me. It's a little bit below these two, but still worth the watch. And last up we have Longlegs. This was his big breakthrough hit after I feel like Hansel and Gretel was like his attempt to go a little more mainstream, but it didn't quite work. I don't think it did very well at the box office, and I don't really hear anyone talk about it ever. But Longlegs, on the other hand, broke through in a hell of a way. This movie went crazy viral before it even came out, which actually was to the movie's detriment in some regards, because it meant that a lot of people who were never going to like the movie ended up, going to see it when they wouldn't have otherwise. So there was kind of like more negative reactions, but like better ticket sales, kind of. You know what I mean? It was like a trade-off of it made more money, it performed better at the box office, it's better for his career, but it got a harsher audience reception because a bunch of people who didn't watch his other movies and wouldn't be interested in them gave this a shot because the marketing kind of misled them a little bit. Really good marketing, I would say. And honestly, I don't really think the marketing is misleading. I think it just conveyed something really specific, and it is very much marketing more than like a representation of the film. But anyway, the movie itself, I really like Longlegs. I think it's great. And I think I definitely like it more than these two. I'm on the fence if I want to go all the way up to an A with it. It's like a B plus, like a solid B plus. Like if I Had the Pretty Thing is a little bit higher than Blackcoat's Daughter, then Longlegs is quite a bit higher. They'd be kind of staggered like this. Just a question of if I want to round up to A or not. I've also seen Longlegs twice. And I liked it both times. And on the second time, it actually did get better. Like I really enjoyed it in the theater, and then I watched it on DVD after the fact, and it got even better. There were some like nice little setups and payoffs that you pick up on a second watch. And some of the early stuff, it's not necessarily like you're seeing it in a new light, but it's kind of like more satisfying to watch early on when you know where it's going in that sense. So it really works on a repeat viewing. And Nick Cage is so fun on this. Nick Cage and Micah Monroe, however you pronounce it, she's so good whenever she pops up in anything. Love how often she's working in the horror genre, whether or not that's typecasting or her choice. She's always really good, and she's excellent in this. The way violence is handled in this is so good. Like you usually just see like the aftermath of it and sort of like the implications of it. And it's just so well done. Again, the atmosphere is really strong. It's a different kind of atmosphere than his other three. Like I would say these three all have pretty similar atmosphere. Longlegs is different, but it's no less all-encompassing and enveloping. And where this one really steps up from his other ones is in the narrative. I think it's a really good script. It's got like that great kind of like Silence of the Lambs kind of feel to it, or like other good like serial killer thrillers. And then there's like just a tiny little touch of supernatural, like, I don't know, like Alan Wake. It's very Alan Wake-ish, which in turn means it's very Twin Peaks-ish, which are great points of reference. If I'm comparing your stuff to those, then that's a really good sign. I think I will go all the way to A for this one. So there's no S in his filmography, not yet, but I think he has it in him, and I'm looking forward to those two movies coming up. Yeah, I think Longlegs in A feels good. It's not the most solid A. It's definitely closer to B than S, but I think I'm going to go ahead and give it the A. I really like Oz Perkins' style as a director, and I'm excited to see the rest of his career. I feel like he's got a lot more movies in him, and I think there's going to be a lot of good little horror gems coming out of him. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you like this, there are a lot more tier lists on this channel. There are also lots of other kinds of videos, and if you didn't know, this is my secondary channel. My main channel is Brickwall Pictures. You can click the link on screen now to head over to the main channel and check out more like scripted type videos. I'll see you next time. So long.